You already kind of find out that okay, the house is infected with mold. Certain areas have mold poisoning, and what are the next steps? How do you clean it up?
It really depends on the level of mold that we find and what recommendations we made based on that. But 9 times out of 10, it's something that the occupant can actually do themselves. Like, for instance, if you have mold on your joinery, it comes down to cleaning it with a system called a HEPA sandwich, which is basically getting a vacuum cleaner, even your house vacuum cleaner that has a HEPA filter in it, and I usually use the brush end of the vacuum cleaner, and I'll vacuum clean wherever the mold is visible on the joinery unit, and then I will wipe that with a damp microfiber cloth. Just make sure it's damp, not like really wet. Wipe the mold off nice and clean, and then dry it with a dry towel, and then I vacuum it again just to pick up any of those mold spores, because as soon as you disturb those mold spores, if you don't vacuum it first, they just spread everywhere and you're going to inhale it. And I also recommend that somebody that doesn't have an allergy does this. You know, like, it's not ideal for somebody to be cleaning it if you have that allergy, and unless you have, you know, something like this. That's what we call that's cleaning basically what we call a non-porous surface. But if you had a surface such as in the shower where you have grout, where it kind of grows in the grout or in the silicone, the only way you ever get rid of that mold is by removing that actual substrate. It's a bit of a myth when it comes to cleaning with bleaches and things like that. Some molds actually like bleach and will actually use it as a food source. And it tends to just bleach the mold. It might look like it's not there, but it's still there growing. Like, it's an amazing thing, mold. Yeah, and all recommendations we made are based off the IICRC guidelines for mold remediation, and 9 times out of 10, if it's a very bad project, then I'd try and refer them to a specialist mold remediator, because then a whole lot of other protocols come into play, like containment. So if one area of the house is more contaminated than another, then that whole area needs to be contained so that it doesn't spread and cause secondary damage through the rest of the house. So it really does depend on what we find once we do mold test. Yeah, once we test the home.
So I have heard about even options of people actually moving from houses when the mold infections are really bad.
Yeah.
But let's say for people who want to use parts of this information for more like prevention and maybe staying in the house and fixing it, what would be some basic tips to keep it your house in check with mold?
Yep. Yeah, just general mold recommendations. Just keeping mold levels low would be, one, getting hygrometers through the house and keeping your humidity levels in check, like keeping them around 50 to 55%. You know, like that's really beneficial, because once you hit above 70, which is very common in New Zealand, especially when we get these wetter months, I mean, mold will just grow within the air itself. It doesn't even need a surface to grow on, so it'll just naturally be growing within the air. So keeping humidity low, keeping dust low within the home, so just general housekeeping, cleaning areas that don't get cleaned, especially in wet areas. And making sure that you use a HEPA vacuum through the house. It's got to have a HEPA filter, otherwise whatever you're putting in the vacuum cleaner, if it's not a HEPA filter, a lot of it's just going to be coming back out the other end again. And then also, if you have a cleaner coming into the house, I also recommend that you use a vacuum cleaner from your own home, so that you don't have the potential of cross-contamination between houses, because that can be a common source of mold as well.
Well, and probably another simple thing that people could do is to just open the windows and let air circulate. Like,
yes, definitely.
Get out of this comfort zone of putting temperatures high and like no circulation home. I think we need to open the windows and possibly even the doors to let the wind kind of go through the house, let the air constantly circulate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, having that passive ventilation is amazing, but it also helps get rid of all those other things that are in our house that we're not even touching on today, like all the VOCs and all these other air pollutants that we bring into our house with cleaning products and cosmetics and things like that. That will help dilute that air. Yeah. And that's one thing we're taught within building biology is the solution to pollution is dilution, and using Mother Nature to do that is the easiest and cheapest form, isn't it? You know.
True.
As long as you're not living near a main highway, or you know, there is other things that come into play there too. Of course. Yeah.
So you can see like some of these solutions for prevention or kind of fixing things up are actually very simple. Just open the windows, so just let air circulate, just dry the wet spots after shower, for example, dry the spots so it doesn't get wet and damp in the house. Now for the last question, Brett, if a person fixes the house but is still like reacting to everything, is like very sensitive, how they should approach this like situation, from perhaps like maybe you can share a little bit about your experience, or also from the house kind of system. I suppose they have to clean the house very often, but also the immune system is always reacting to many different things. So how do they approach that after cleaning the house when they're still so sensitive?
I think one of the biggest things is finding a practitioner that really understands mold. Someone that specializes in mold and specializes in detoxing mold. Like getting the mycotoxin out of your body is the key to getting some form of health back. Because I mean that mycotoxin will just stay within your system unless you get it out. You know, like, and that's where binders come in. Like there's so many different binders on the market, and I mean your general practitioner or your naturopath or whoever you decide to on this journey will recommend these different things. And in my journey, for instance, there's been multiple ones that I've tried until I get one that actually suits me. Like, I mean, it's not everything will suit to start with. Some things I react to, some things I don't. So but yeah, it's just trying to get those levels of mycotoxins down is the key. Once you reduce the exposure, unless you actually start getting them out of your system, then you're not really going to get much benefit.
So with binders, Brett means things like, for example, activated charcoal or active carbon molecules as well. You can use fulvic acid, which is a specific like mineral-rich humic and fulvic acid substance that helps very much for detoxification. And as well, I think upgrading your liver and kidney health and GI health, you're making sure that you're pooping every day and actually eliminating the toxins properly. So that's your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys, your skin as well, like perspirating and possibly like even going to sauna can help very much with detoxification after that. And of course, I think just the maintenance of the house to not create the same conditions that cause the mold to thrive. So it's a constant, it's like a constant recheck. I imagine like for example, Brett, how do you maintain your house in check? Like what are the protocols you now, after being through all this like mold journey, how do you keep now the house in check?
I just do a lot of general housekeeping. Just keep dust levels down, keep humidity levels in check. If my humidity gets up, which I haven't mentioned, I use a dehumidifier to get those levels back down again. And you're just aware. I mean, areas in the home that are common for mold, like I said before, are the air conditioning units, keeping them clean and keeping your joinery clean. I mean, that's something I haven't touched on. Is like in New Zealand, we still get condensation on our joinery in a lot of our houses, even though it's double glazed. Wipe it down with a towel. You know, like literally wipe it down that day, and then any moisture that's there's nothing for the mold to grow in. And by doing that, your house levels stay, so much lower and stay more within a normal fungal ecology.
Thank you, Brett, so much.
No
I
worries.
hope this will be useful for the viewers to understand more about mold and the risks that it carries, and possibly actually some simple ways to tackle it and test and clean it and also check in with your body. So I hope you gain some knowledge and some clarity how to approach those things now. And click like, share, and subscribe if this type of holistic health content is interesting for you. I have a lot of great ideas that are still coming. So thanks for watching, and Adios.